Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Enlightened Path with Kat. I'd like to thank those that are returning from previous shows and welcome to any newcomers that are checking it out for the first time. And first, a little bit about me. I'm Kat, and I'm coming in from the Enlightened Path Holistic Center, which is located in Pottstown. It's 1494 North Charlotte Street. If you're familiar with the Sunflower Cafe up there past Planet Fitness, we're right next door to them. And if you haven't been out to the center, please stop out and check it out. We've got a lot of things going on there. We have a lot of gifts, jewelry, a lot of locally made stuff, so we are supporting local artists as well. But we've got candles, incense, jewelry, knickknacks, aromatherapy stuff, crystals, you name it, there's a lot of stuff. So stop out and check it out. Christmas is coming, so that's also a great idea for some Christmas shopping. Gift certificates are available if you're not sure what to get for somebody. We also have a lot of different healing sessions out there. We have massage therapy, Reiki healing, pranic healing, reflexology, a lot of different things going on. Different types of readings. We have tarot readings, psychic medium readings, palm readings. There's always something going on. The best way to see what we have going, other than stopping in and picking up a schedule, is to check out our a website, and that's enlightenedpath-hc.com, or check out our Facebook page. Just look up Enlightened Path, and you'll find us on there. And then if you like the Enlightened Path, you'll get updates on anytime we're putting new events up. And please stop out and join. We have a lot of special events as well. We have meditation every Tuesday night, so that's tonight. It's a twin heart meditation. It's for sending out world healing, world peace, and we also receive a little bit of that ourselves. That is every Tuesday from 6 to 7. Wednesday nights is a fun night. We have our belly dance class, although we call it goddess dance. It's a little more relaxed, but it's a great workout. We have a lot of fun. The girls get to put on their jangles and do a little shaking, and we play with the veils, and we do some routines. You get a really good workout, but you don't realize it because you're having a lot of fun. A lot of different age groups as well. Thursday nights vary. We do have a variety of different classes. Once a month on a Thursday, we have a drum circle. That's coming up on the 14th. So it's always the Thursday closest to the full moon. Sometimes it kind of falls in the middle, before or after, so this time we're having it before. And again, that's on the 14th, and that's from 7 to 8, and once a month. We also once a month have a Reiki share. That's always the third Sunday of the month from 1 to 3. That's for any level practitioner of Reiki. For those that aren't familiar with it, there are 3 levels. There's 1, 2, and Masters. If you're practicing Reiki, then you're familiar with what they are. So stop out and join us if you do practice Reiki. It's a great way to learn. It's a great way to receive, and also, of course, to give. Once a month, we also offer hours for night reading. I do mine by appointment, mostly in the evenings or Sundays and Mondays, but we also have one Monday evening a month where we do offer the palm, tarot, and my readings, and that's this coming one is going to be the 18th, and that's from 6 to 9. So those you need to call and make appointments for, you can call me at the center. That's 484-624-8095, and be happy to get an appointment booked for you. Every now and then we have a wish game. If anybody has seen anything about the wish game, it's amazing. It is about manifesting things into your life. It's about getting past blockages, figuring out and making it fun. It's a game it's a registered, designed game. We have a facilitator that comes in and takes us through all the steps of the game. And usually every couple months we'll have one. So we do have one coming up this month, and that's going to be Saturday the 23rd from 1 to 3. Again, if you check out the events page on Facebook, you'll see all the details on that. This Saturday, we also occasionally have a holistic sampler. We have a gentleman that comes in and he brings a lot of different equipment. There's a foot detox, FIR, I think it was called, hot house, inversion table, and a chi machine, and you can come in and do all of them, preferably by appointment. It would work out better if you give us a call and set an appointment up for it. But that's going to be this Saturday, and the times and everything will be on the Facebook page. You can check that out. And also, the same day as we have the Reiki Share, Sunday the 17th, after the Reiki Share, we have a harmonic visualization. We have Dave Antonio, is a wonderful local musician. He comes in and he brings all these different natural instruments with him. He has flutes, drums, didgeridoo is my favorite. I love the didgeridoo. And singing bowls, tuning forks, all kinds of different things. And we go into like a meditation, and then he goes over everybody with each of the different instruments, and your body takes in the vibration of each instrument, and it's very healing, it's very soothing. And at the same time, I'll be sending Reiki out to everybody, so everybody's receiving a double healing. It's the Reiki energy plus the sound vibration. So it's an amazing meditation, and you'll feel wonderful afterwards. So that's 3:30 to 5. Again, check out the Facebook page, and you'll see all the details on that. So again, if you have any questions on any of the events that we have coming up, just either give me a call. Again, that's 484-624-8095, or drop me a message on Facebook, or you can stop into the center. That's even better. Today, we cover a lot of different topics on the radio show, and we always try to keep it in a positive light. We want to keep our spirits up. Holistic healing is about treating everything, the mind, the body, and the spirit. And we always talk about staying positive and the meditating and de-stressing and all of that. One of the things that we don't talk a lot about is the negativity that we have to deal with every day. So instead of talking about being positive today, I want to talk a little bit about negativity. We're bombarded with it every day, from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, and even sometimes in our dreams. So negativity is around us. No matter how positive we are, how loving we are, how spiritual we are, reality is negativity is out there. And it's in our every waking moment, we're subjected to it in one way or another. So it comes down to, first of all, recognizing what negativity we can avoid, what negativity we can remove from our lives, and what we can't avoid. The ones, the experiences or the people or the situations that there's no way around, and we do have to deal with them. Unfortunately, they're out there. And first we have to take a look at what we can change, and then learn how to protect ourselves from what we can't change. Some people, as soon as you wake up, the first thing you do is turn on the TV or turn on the radio so you can listen to the news. Maybe you want to check the traffic report, or you want to check the weather. But in amongst all that news is just negative story after negative story after negative story, and it can get very depressing. It can get very much a downer. You can wake up in a great mood and sit down and listen to the news, and all of a sudden now you're bummed out and you're down, or you're depressed, or you're angry, or you're frustrated because there's so much of it out there. They don't have a lot of stories on the positive things that are happening, the wonderful things that are happening. Unfortunately, they focus a lot on the negative stories, the bad things that are going on out there. I understand the need to be aware of some of the things that are going on in our world. I do understand that. But we don't have to be bombarded with it constantly. That's not good for us. When there's major stories out there, we hear about them. We're going to know, whether it's through the grapevine or, a blurb on the radio or Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is, whatever social media you're using, it's going to get to you. But if you're sitting there watching the news constantly, you're choosing to subject yourself to all that negativity. And you can change that. It's so simple as to just turn it off. If you're watching the news because you want the weather or you want a traffic report, well, you have a couple options there too. You can find out, they're pretty much on a regular schedule, so you find out about when that traffic report comes on and turn it on just for that and then turn it off right away. The weather, go to the Weather Channel. Watch just the weather. You don't have to bombard yourself with all that negativity. Again, it's a choice. TV shows. There's a lot of great shows out there, but there's also a lot of shows that focus, again, on negativity, anger, crime. Again, it's a choice. Do you want to subject yourself to the positive things in life, or do you want to bombard yourself with the negative things? There's places. Stop and think about the different places that you go where you walk in and you just feel all that negative energy around you. If you know that these places do that to you, you can either avoid going to them altogether, find a different alternative, or try and find a time where, like if it's a mall, think about when they're not busy. Think about the down times, the off times, the unusual times when it's not packed and it's not full of all the negative people. Again, it's about making choices. People. We have people around us that are negative. Some of them we can eliminate. Some of them we can't. Some of them we're stuck with these people in our lives. And again, when it comes to that, you have to learn how to protect yourself, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well. But if at all possible with the people, you want to remove them, cut them off, distance yourself, but you always want to do it with love. You don't want to do it in anger, because then you're just contributing to that negativity. Always think about wanting the best for them. If you're trying to say a prayer or think of a way to remove them from your space, maybe you want to wish for them to have a better job, better living conditions for them, something that's better for them, but removes them from your surroundings, so you're not subjected to their negativity. Again, we can't do that with everybody, but I know we've all got a few people in our lives that we like to just not be around as much. And again, it's not because they're bad people, but they just carry a lot of negativity. They're downers. They're always talking about bad things. They're always talking and complaining about how bad their life is or how they're not feeling well. It's just always complaining, always talking behind people's backs, just poking fun at people. Even though they may not be doing it to be malicious, maybe they don't know any better. Maybe it's the way they were raised. Again, we have to try and look at it with love. Send them love and send them on their way. So then there are things that happen in our lives that we really don't have a choice over, things that we can't change. We have loss. We may have, people in our lives, our loved ones, that for some reason they're out of our lives. Maybe they've passed on, maybe they've moved, maybe they've separated themselves from us for some reason. Maybe a relationship has ended, whether it be us ending it or the other person ending it. There's still a loss. That's not something that we can change. That's not something that we can always be positive about. It's so easy to sit back and say, Everything happens for a reason, and I'm a firm believer of that. I really am. I know, and I've seen it. Everything does happen for a reason. Even though it feels terrible at the time, there's always something good that's going to come out of it eventually. But at the time, we are going to grieve. We are going to be sad. We are going to be angry. And we're entitled to those feelings. It's part of the healing process to get through that experience. We have to grieve. We have to be sad. We have to be angry. We have to let that out and not hold it in. That's not being negative. That's something completely different. Feeling emotions like that, they're human. Again, that's not being negative. That's something we are allowed to do and we do need to work through. We do sometimes find ourselves in damaging relationships. In that case, sometimes there are choices, and we can separate ourselves from that negativity that's in that relationship. Maybe sometimes we can't do it as fast as we'd like to, so we are stuck in that place where we have to deal with it. And again, that comes down to protecting ourselves. If we have a choice, great. Make the smart choice. If you don't, then learn how to protect yourself. And again, I am planning to talk about that for a little bit. Society as a whole, there's not a whole lot that we can do about. Individual people, maybe. Family members, it's a little tough call on family members. Sometimes we can maybe distance ourselves a little bit, but we don't want to completely separate ourselves because they are family and they're our family. But as a whole, society is full of negativity. We walk out our doors, we expose ourselves to it. We go to the store, we expose ourselves to it. Even going to a place that's supposed to be full of love, going to church, you're still going to be hit with some negativity because there's everybody hits a point, where we may fall back, as positive as we are, we may fall back into a negative frame of mind, even if it's temporary. And we're all guilty of it. I mean, I try to stay as positive as possible, but there's times when I may slip and fall and end up in a little bit of a negative spot, but I pull myself out of it. And that's what differentiates the people that are in that negative place and stay there. If you do falter and pull yourself out, that's so important. But as a whole, society is just full of it. So that's where we need to protect ourselves. Our workspace. Sometimes we're dealing with a lot of negativity where we work. We can't always change that. We can't just jump from job to job. We can't get transferred to a different position just because the people around us are being negative. So again, that comes down to differentiating what we can change, what we can't, and learning how to protect ourselves with the things that we can't change. Some of the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis are kind of borderline. It's a little tough. I did mention family. We can't always separate ourselves from family. We love them. They drive us crazy sometimes, especially when they are full of negativity. But we don't always necessarily want to separate ourselves from them because we do want them in our lives. So what do? Again, it's about protecting yourselves. It's about sending them love. If you can't distance yourself from them, then you've got to surround them with love. Social media is a big one. We rely so much on social media anymore. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have all these other new ones that are starting to come out. Some of the old ones that are still out there. I don't even know. Does anybody use MySpace anymore? I don't know. Do you? I don't know.
It's still out there.
Is it still out there?
Yes. But
wow.
You're kind of weird.
Okay. Well, I don't use it, so.
Pictures are gone now, usually.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even know if it was still around, but thanks for filling me in on that one. But especially for business owners like myself, Facebook is a necessity for me. It is an amazing tool for free advertising, and I use it as much as I can. Believe me, I take advantage of any free advertising I can get. And for a lot of people, it's their only connections with family that live far away. So things like Facebook have become a necessity to a lot of people. But do we have choices on what we see, what we put out there, what we accept? Absolutely. I'm on it all the time. And not because I'm, playing games or anything like that. I'm on there, I'm marketing. I'm networking. I'm advertising our events. I'm sending out positive, as many positive things as I can. But as I'm scrolling through, a lot of times I will pass negative comments and negative posts, and I have a choice. Do I stop and read it? Do I comment on it? Do I feed into it? Do I sit there and get mad about it? Or do I just brush over it and go to the next one? That's my choice. That's what I choose to do. I don't stop and read them because I'm not going to give them any additional energy. I'm not going to give it any attention. I'm especially not going to comment on it because then I'm becoming a part of it. Even if it's something that totally offends me, I'm still going to just brush over it. I'm not going to jump on there and berate the person for what they put on there. It's their freedom to put that on there. It's not my place to tell them that it's wrong. But I do have the choice to skip over it. And that's what I choose to do. It's the same thing as I mentioned earlier with the news. My personal choice is to not watch it at all. I'll get the little blurbs of things that are important. They get to me eventually. It's not that I've got my head buried in the sand and don't think that there's, bad things going on out there. I know there's horrible things going on out there. I also know that there's not a whole lot that I can do to change many of these things. So I choose to not give it my energy. With going back to social media, and I'm not familiar with Twitter because I don't use it. I'm one of the few people that haven't jumped on that bandwagon yet. Maybe someday I will. But I'm not really familiar with that. But again, I think that's a thing where you're putting up things that are happening in your daily life. So I'm sure there's a lot of negativity on there. And if it's at all possible to skip over it, scroll through it, however Twitter works, I'm sure there's a choice of what you expose yourself to. It's, again, paying attention, making good choices, deciding what you want to react to and what you want to give your attention to. I always try to put comments on the positive posts that I see, and I share the positive posts. That I'm willing to give my attention to. But that's my choice. I choose to stay away from any of the negativity. Now, what about when you get to the things that I spoke of earlier, the things that you don't have a choice on? And I'm not talking about, the loss of a loved one or the ending of a relationship. Again, those are emotions that we deal with. That's not negativity. Being sad, being angry, being frustrated over things like that, that's the healing process. That's not being negative. What I'm talking about is negative people that you cannot get away from, negative situations that you can't get away from. Maybe you have a business meeting or a family reunion or get together, but there's going to be a lot of negativity there. You can't get out of it, or maybe you don't want to get out of it. You want to be a part of it. It's just you don't want that negative part of it, and you don't have a choice. You're going to have to subject yourself to it. Just walking out your door, you know that you're going to be around negative people. So what do you do to protect yourself from the negativity that you can't separate from? The number one thing is to always be aware. Always be aware that it's out there. Always be aware that At any time, you could be walking into it. You could be in a perfectly great mood, all upbeat and positive, and walk into a room and everybody in the room is arguing with each other, or they're all maybe sitting there picking on one person that's not even there. They're just, all the little whispering and talking behind their backs and picking on somebody. And you have to be aware that there's always that chance that you're going to walk into it, and always be ready to protect yourself. Always be protected before you even go out into the world if you can. The other thing is to always listen to your intuition. Your intuition is the first thing that comes into your mind. We all have it. You do not have to be, psychic, medium. Everybody has intuition. It's that gut instinct. It's that first thought that comes to your mind. If you're walking into a space or you're getting ready to go to something and you've got this feeling that something's not right, then listen to it. That's your intuition telling you, pay attention. Something isn't right. If you have that feeling that you're going to be walking into some negativity, you probably are. Be prepared for it. One of the things that we can always do is to project our own positivity, our love and light. Just project that out. Surround everybody with it. Smile. When you walk into a dark room, and by dark I mean a room filled with negativity, not the lighting. When you walk into a room that everybody's angry, everybody's frustrated, everybody's at each other, and you walk in just beaming love, light, positivity, you've got a big smile on your face, it tends to kind of brighten the whole atmosphere in the room. Try it sometime. You're walking into a room. Try walking in with a big smile and just head held high and feel all happy. Even laugh if you can. They don't need to know that you're not laughing at anything in particular. It's contagious. You walk into a dark room and you flick a lighter, or you light a candle, or you turn on a flashlight. It takes the darkness away. So be the light that takes the darkness away. Smile. Send your light out. If things are a little bit darker than even that can handle, if things are a little more negative than that can handle, than a smile or projecting the light, you can always picture yourself with a shield in front of you. Maybe something made out of Teflon, or maybe a bubble around you. If any of you remember watching The Wizard of Oz and how the good fairy came down in the bubble, picture yourself like that. You've got this big, strong bubble of light surrounding you, and no negativity can penetrate the bubble. It's a bubble of light, a bubble of love. You're protected inside that, and nothing can get through it and get to you. You can't change the negativity that's out there, but you can stop it from getting in and getting to you. You don't have to pull it in. You don't have to carry it. That negativity belongs to the other people that are out there. It's not yours. You don't need to feel it. So protect yourself with that. Another good thing for protection that I like to use is sage. Sage is amazing. It can be used on you. It can be used in your space. That's a Native American way of pushing negativity away. You can say a prayer with it as you're doing it. It smells amazing. And an area just feels so much brighter, so much lighter, so much happier after you've cleansed it with sage. Or even yourself, you feel lighter after you've cleansed yourself. You can't always use something that you're going to light, something that smokes. So there are sprays out there. We carry some at the center. It's a sage spray. We also have a Reiki spray. Both of them have sage in them. The sage spray, it smells amazing, doesn't have the smoke. If you have somebody with asthma, or if you're in a space where they've got sensitive smoke detectors, maybe it's at work, you're not going to be able to light sage in your workspace, and unless your workspace is like mine where you have a center that you can do it in. And I do burn the sage quite a bit in there, but again, not everybody can in their space. So get yourself some spray. Some incense works really good too. Dragon's blood incense. I do have a sage incense. Those are also good to spray or to burn. There's dragon's blood oil. You can make a spray out of that. That also sends negativity scurrying away. It just makes a place feel so much safer, so much more positive. And of course, there's prayer. Call in for help. If you know that you're going to be in a negative space, if you know you're going into work and everybody in there is just miserable, it's just been a week from heck, and you're just going nuts with all the negativity that's going on. Everybody's worried about, the crunches that are coming, or the layoffs that are coming, or the hours that are being cut. So everybody's in a bad mood. Everybody's stressed out. So call in for help. Say a prayer. Call in your angels. Call in your guides. They're here to support you. They're here to protect you. And just visualizing them with their wings wrapped around you, that's going to protect you from that negativity. Meditation. Meditation is great to get yourself centered. You know that you're going into a negative situation, or you're going to be exposing yourself to negative people. Get yourself centered first. Do a small meditation. Get yourself in a positive place. Protect yourself. Being grounded is really important. Think about when you have a tree. If you have a tree that's roots are deep into the ground and they're just dug in there, good wind comes along, that tree's not going anywhere. But if you have a tree who's got very shallow roots, or they're just barely on the surface of the ground, and a good wind comes along, that tree's going down. So you have to picture yourself like that. If you picture yourself, do a meditation where you're visualizing the roots going down through your legs, out through your feet, and into the earth, and send them deep into the earth so that they've got a good strong hold. And that's going to keep you grounded, keep you rooted, and keep you strong. It's going to help you stay focused on being light, being peace, being love. You can even picture your branches. As you're picturing your roots going down into the ground, you can picture branches going from your arms, from your shoulders, and up, from your head, and going up into the heavens and pulling the light down. You can have the light coming down from above, from God, from the angels. Picture that coming down into your trunk, going straight down through your roots and right down into the ground. So now not only are you grounding yourself, you're also filling yourself with light and love, and at the same time you're sending that down to Mother Earth, and you're gifting her. So she's going to send more energy and strength up to you. That's going to help when you run into the negativity. It's going to keep you standing strong, and it's going to keep you standing bright. Another thing that you can use when you're looking at protecting yourself going into negative situations are crystals. There are some amazing crystals out there that are wonderful for negativity. Two of my favorites when it comes to dealing with negativity are kyanite. There's blue kyanite and there's green kyanite. I prefer the blue, but that's just a preference. Maybe you are more comfortable with the green. You go with whatever you're drawn to. But The blue kyanite is great to carry with you or to put over a doorway. I have them placed over my doors at the center. It keeps negativity from coming in. It absorbs it as it comes through. You can do that at home. Keep it over your doorway. Either hang it in the door, or if you've got a little space above the door jamb, put it up there. You can have it around you at your workspace, and people may not even know it's a pretty stone and you've just got it there for decoration. The other one I really like for negativity is hematite. Hematite is silver, kind of looks like gunmetal. That comes in different sizes. It's great to get a smaller piece and carry it in your pocket, keeping it with you all the time. There's a lot of jewelry that's made of hematite. You could wear something if you're going to be exposed to the negativity for a long period of time. I would suggest wearing it. Earrings, necklace, something that's up in this area. Keep a piece in your car. That helps, when you're driving down the road. That's another place you're dealing with a lot of negativity, is driving down the road. You could be the happiest driver in the world, but there's drivers all around you that are slamming on the brakes, they're flipping you the bird, you're not going fast enough for them. There's a lot of anger out on the road, so that's another place you need to be aware and be protected. That's a great place to call in your guardians. Make sure that, what's that old phrase? Don't fly faster than your guardian angel, or don't drive faster than your guardian angel can fly. That's a really cute one. That's a good one to even write that little note on it and keep it in your glove box or keep it in your visor. But throw some crystals in there. Some kyanite, some hematite, clear crystal, that's also a good one. Crystal quartz, that's a good one to throw in. But these are things that are going to help keep that negativity away from you. Study the crystals a little bit. Look up some of the ones that are good for negativity. There's so many, but find what resonates with you. We all have a different vibration. We all resonate different with them. So feel them out and see what feels good to you. Hey, Lisa, how about you? Do you have any particular places that you go or situations that you find yourself in where you're exposed to a lot of negativity?
Yes, I do. Gossip.
And that's definitely negativity.
I belong to a roller derby team, and there's a lot of that. And I find myself wanting to partake occasionally, and then I try not to, and then I go back because sometimes it's so juicy.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and it's difficult. So I'm just as bad. I'm not going to point the finger. I'd like to think that I'm not, but I've seen myself do it.
Well, I think you had walked out of the room, so I don't know if you had heard me say earlier that no matter how positive and full of love and light that we are human, and we do sometimes fall back into that negative frame of mind. Yeah. But it's what you do with it. Do you pull yourself out of it, or do you stay in it?
Well, one of the things that I observed of myself was the fact that I usually partake in the gossip if someone did something to hurt my feelings, or if I perceived they were talking about me and it is a defensive mechanism. I might, now this is totally being very candid with you. I don't necessarily, I'm trying, I find myself trying to figure it out and see what it is that I do. Mm-hmm. So that way, because these are really nice people and a wonderful group of women that occasionally I get triggered by. Yeah. And when I'm triggered, I gossip.
So when you know that you're going into a situation like that, is there anything that you do to protect yourself from?
Well, I'm usually full on in it before I realize it. Full-fledged I'm in a stride.
So is there something you do to pull yourself out of it?
Once
or-
I notice it, I usually will put the brakes on. Once I at least am conscious that that's exactly what I'm doing, because usually that is some type of fear has perpetuated me being the cause of it.
Well, what about situations that you're going to, you're going into a group, not so much with the gossip and stuff that you occasionally
Oh, where there's
partake
like
of,
the negative person.
where you
Oh,
really know
okay.
you're going to be
What are
bombarded.
my practices in terms of like protecting myself from it?
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a particular practice other than I try and just have compassion,
That's important. Compassion is a very important thing.
because I know why I do it. So if I can see how I can do it, how could I possibly judge them? I just
Right.
choose to not be around them
That's exactly
and
it.
not
It's-
engage and realize that, and for me not to take it personally. So that's the thing that I do. I don't do any guardian angels things. I just usually do that in a car. Protect myself with the cone,
Yeah.
the dome, the clear dome
Yep, absolutely.
that travels with me. But as far as negative, I'm just trying to understand where it comes from. And if I could see it in myself, I could usually have a little bit more compassion, and then I don't take it so personally.
Well, I think that compassion is a very important part because we are human. And that's why I said earlier, when you're around negative people that you need to separate yourself from, to separate yourself with love,
Yeah.
not to separate yourself with anger.
Right. And that's a big difference. Like, if I would separate myself saying that, oh, look what she's doing, to say, I'm better. Because that's really what it is, to separate myself. If I'm, that usually is an ego kind of thing. And,
Yeah, I mean,
we
it
know
is-
all about that. Yeah.
And it is about understanding that they may have just made a mistake, or
Oh, yeah.
maybe we misunderstand something that they said. And
It's
rather
usually exactly what it is.
Yeah, and rather than separating with anger, to separate with love, and just say, okay, I choose to not be a part of the negative. I choose to not allow that negativity in my life. I mean, I've had people that have had misunderstandings with me. And rather than bringing it to me and talking to me about it, they make a judgment call and completely separate themselves without any
Right.
explanation. They're just gone. And then you find out later that they totally misunderstood something.
Yeah.
And it could have been avoided had they talked about it or did it in a different way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, separating ourselves from it is separating yourself from being a human being. Because if someone is a human being and they're capable of it, so are we.
Oh, absolutely.
But we don't see it that way.
No.
Like, even the murderers out there, we're all capable of, we like to think that we're not. But if we're pushed, we have the capability within us to do lots of horrendous things to other human beings. We all have the capacity if we're pushed, and if we're in
pushed,
the in
right.
the circumstances. Maybe it's easy to be an angel when nobody's ruffling your feathers.
I like that. Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
it is.
So we don't know what their story is, and even even to the point to where compassion for murderers. I'm not saying invite them in for dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, a scorpion's a scorpion is a scorpion.
Yeah. But understanding that scorpion is part of nature, it's using,
It is what it is.
Right, it is what it
but
is.
you could still have compassion. And what I
Right.
mean by compassion is not judgment and act like that you're better, because that does something to your evolution. It actually does more to you, because you can't evolve when
Right.
you separate yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I said too with family members. We can't always
The hardest.
separate ourselves from somebody that is extremely negative, and sometimes you cringe when you know that you're going to have to go spend time with them, but they're still our family, and there are times when we are going to be around them. So if we can't distance ourselves from them, we need to protect ourselves. We need to be prepared for what we may be facing when we're
Right.
going to be with them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
I think just being aware of it.
But I think that's the hardest part is it when it's your family, because we want to be, as women, we want to be the one who can be counted on, even if we're doing something bad. We want to be the one who's compassionate. We want to be the one who gets into heaven first. Yeah, I know that for us Catholic girls. We don't want to do anything that's going to, shorten our, abilities to get into heaven. And that being one of them is eliminating people and not having compassion. So we will go above and beyond and put up with stuff, unbelievable amounts of negativity in the eyes of wanting to get into heaven.
But are you just putting up with it, or are you, when you're just putting up with it, are you taking it in? Are you feeling it? Or are you...
I don't think that you can, you cannot take it on. I don't think you can without not taking it on. I don't do that. I don't do it. Upon occasion, but I'll usually find that I have a motive for tolerating it. I'll tell you a story. I have a sister-in-law. I couldn't stand, not you, Debbie, if you're listening. I have a sister-in-law, and for 18 years she drove me crazy, and I don't know why I tolerated her. Oh my God, I was like, I put up with her. She's annoying. Every time I'm around her, I want to pound her into the sand. Until one day I realized why. When I first met my husband, nobody liked me because I was divorced and I had 3 children.
Ah.
And the sister was going through struggles. And I took the burden off of the family members because she went to me. And I resented every minute of it. But I didn't stop it.
Right.
And I didn't stop it because the nun in the family thought I was saintly for doing it. And I needed that approval from them. And that's why I tolerated it. So it took me a long time because I could not have seen it till one day it was just like that in my head. I was like, oh my God, that's why I do it. And then it stopped. The second I knew it,
you
recognized it because the need for their approval was so much stronger than the need to get her away from me.
So when you say the second you became aware of that it stopped, was it they didn't come around you anymore, or you found yourself not being around them anymore?
I just found that I just didn't care. I just didn't care. Like it was, and I can't explain it. I think it was a combination of both. Like somehow it ceased. It ceased. It all happened all around the same time where things happened where she just needed to be away from me. And it was okay.
Your lesson was learned.
Right. And it came like a light bulb moment. It was literally like that. Because I couldn't understand why I would tolerate that.
And I think that's the other thing that's important when we're talking about negativity in our lives. Sometimes that negativity is put in our lives for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
To teach us a lesson, to teach us something about ourselves, or to teach us something about how to deal with a worse situation. So,
well, and the thing is, though, there was a really good story that I gave myself about that. Look how wonderful I am. I sacrifice. I would tell that in my head. I wouldn't say that to you. But in my mind, I was so wonderful. I was godly, saintly, because look what I tolerated.
You were sacrificing.
Look what I did this for you, you know?
But in reality, when the light bulb went off, that
it was like it had nothing to do with being wonderful.
Yeah.
It was purely selfish.
Yep.
But you could not have told me that for 18 years. You couldn't have.
And something that you have to figure out for
yourself.
Yeah.
But you see how we do that a lot in our lives. But I see a lot of that too.
But that is the other thing that you have to keep in mind when you are dealing with negativity, is to ask yourself, if it's a repeated situation that you can't seem to get yourself out of, that you're constantly faced with this same negative situation over and over and over again, what's the lesson? Mm-hmm. What is it that you haven't learned yet? Because like Lisa said, Once you learn that lesson, once that light bulb goes off, that negativity will go away.
I don't know how, and I can't explain to you how.
I've seen that happen many times in different situations.
It ceased to exist. It did. It really ceased to exist. And it was like, what I remember when I made the realization, I was going, oh my God.
You
Oh my
can't see her, but she's
God.
sitting there with her hand over her mouth.
Yes.
It's kind of comical. I
Like-
wish the camera was on her.
No, that's all good. You got this. I know. And I'm yapping away, and you got your show to do. And I'm yapping away. But it's
That's
a good
all
topic.
part of. No, it's
Yeah,
all part
it's a
of.
really good.
It is all part of it.
Yeah, it's a good topic. But it was more like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Can you believe I did that?
Yeah, it kind of, you were putting yourself above other people.
I
You
sure was.
You were more important.
Absolutely.
You were
Yeah.
more special. You were.
Well, because they were making me feel so special too, and I needed it. I
Yeah.
desperately needed it. I obviously needed it
you
because I
wanted
hung
to
on
fit
to it.
in, You wanted to feel
Yes.
part of everything.
Yes, and
You
I
wanted
took
people
it.
to look up to you.
Yes, I took it and I held on to that, and I was not letting it go.
So was the misery worth it
Obviously it was, because I wouldn't have done it.
for the time
I got
period?
something.
When you didn't need it anymore.
Yeah, I didn't
And that's
need
when
it.
the realization
I
hit.
think so, because I obviously needed it. And how sad is that? But I did it all for the wrong reasons. And I say it. I'm a little bit ashamed of it, but at the same time, I'm so grateful that I could see it, because then I can see it, how it shows up in other places in my life, and causes me negativity.
Yeah.
And my own stress, that I did that. I did that to myself.
And then you start putting that negativity out. When you take so much in, you start putting, it's got to go somewhere. So you start
yeah.
spewing it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It had to go somewhere. And I think that, but I did it to myself, which was very hopeful, because that meant I didn't have to do it. I could control that. I can control me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was exciting.
And I think it's the same thing like with relationships that are negative. When you're constantly, you're in one negative relationship, you get yourself out of it, you go into another relationship, it's negative again. And you get out of that one and you go into another one, and you find it's a repeated cycle. Once you suddenly realize what the lesson was that you needed to learn about yourself, and you acknowledge it and you do something about it, then the next relationship ends up being a positive one.
Mm-hmm.
So all the negativity that's out there that we try to stay away from, we try to avoid, we try to separate ourselves from, if it doesn't work, if you're not able to, no matter what you're doing, you're finding yourself still facing the same negative situations over and over again, now you've got to look at it a different way. Now you've got to ask yourself, what's the lesson that I need to learn from it? So we first have to decide, is it something that we can make a choice on? Is it something that we can choose? Like the TV, we can turn it off. Facebook, we can turn it off, or we can delete a comment, or, we have choices there. TV shows, places we go, friends that we hang out with. These are choices that we can make. Then if it's a choice that we can't, how do we protect ourselves? How do we distinguish between what's okay, like our grieving and our loss and our frustration and our anger that we're entitled to in a bad situation? Or do we need to protect ourselves? And if not, if it's a repeating negative situation, what's the lesson that we need to learn? Sometimes it is just what it is. It's just negativity that's out there that we're facing every day, and sometimes it's there for a reason. So it can get confusing, it can get overwhelming, but if you're just aware of it, if you are grounded and well-rooted and you can stop and think, meditation helps clear the mind. But if you can stop and think and ask yourself these questions, determine which of these negativities it is and what you can do about it, you're helping your own life to be more positive. You're taking a lot of the stress out of your life. Sometimes a lot of the stress that we feel is just from the negativity that's around us. If we can separate from that or do something about it or protect ourselves from it, we can de-stress a lot. We can better ourselves if we understand that that negativity is coming at us to teach us a lesson. We can become stronger. We can become better examples for other people. We can teach by example. If we're positive and loving and full of light, that's setting an example. It's spreading it. It's exposing other people to it. But we also can't get into the position where we're, and I know a few people like this, they're so much into the love and the light, and that's all they preach is love and light and love and light and love, love, love. And yet they're almost deluding themselves. They're not looking at the reality that's around them. No matter how positive we are, no matter how loving we are human. We do make mistakes. And it's what we do to better those mistakes, what we do to learn from those mistakes. That's what makes us who we are. That's what makes us the wonderful creatures that we are. That's what makes us the spiritual creatures that we are. If you constantly keep your head buried in the sand and keep telling yourself everything is love, 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 everything is light, 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 you're going to come to a rude awakening when something really negative hits you in the back of the head like a 2x4, and you're going to be in a daze wondering where it came from. You're also not being realistic as far as forgiving yourself. We do make mistakes. We're not perfect. No matter how positive I am, no matter how upbeat I try to be, no matter how level I try to stay, no matter how grounded I try to keep myself, I still have moments where something gets to me, or somebody gets to me, or I just get scared. It happens. I pull up my boots and, I find out what's causing it. I get to the root of it, and I try to do something about it. And then I move forward. But none of us are perfect. And we have to treat ourselves a little lighter. Be a little more loving and forgiving with ourselves. If we can be a little more loving and forgiving with ourselves, then we can do that with other people as well. If we see that we can make mistakes and pull ourselves up, then we know other people can make mistakes and they can pull themselves up. It's just trying to keep a realistic balance between the positivity and the negativity. To be realistic, to know that it's out there, to know that we have to deal with it, to be aware of it, to protect ourselves from it, and to learn from it. To not let it override our positivity, but to also not let our positivity overtake our reality, if that makes any sense. So that's pretty much going to bring our show to an end today, but I would like to invite you to stay tuned. There's some great shows coming up after. They have the whole evening filled with wonderful paranormal shows, so Tuesday is the day to stay tuned, although they've got other great shows on other days too, so check those out. But for tonight, you have Paranormal Frequency from 5 to 6, Mystic Talks from 6 to 7, Heaven Talks from 7 to 8:30, and Beyond the Veil from 8:30 to 9:30. So your evening entertainment has been planned out for you. Just leave it tuned in, keep an ear out, sit down and watch it, learn some great stuff. Come back next week, because I'm sure we'll have something great on. I'm not sure what the topic is, but please tune back in next week and see what we've got. Check out the Facebook page, and I should have it posted closer to the show next week what we're going to have. So I'd like to thank you for coming out, and I wish you a wonderful evening. Have a great, great week.